My name is Kate Shela, and I would say I'm a movement maestra, DJ, and a shamanic healer. Being a movement teacher, an embodiment teacher, a dance teacher, my job is to encourage everyone to get present in the only house they're ever going to really live in. I became a dancer when I finally owned that my body was dedicated to expression. And I got into the fashion industry. I was always dancing. And then my life through fashion brought me to Los Angeles. I eventually met someone that mentioned Gabrielle's name. And I went to a workshop in New York in 91 or 92. And it was like coming home. Here was a woman talking about getting absolutely present with what is and what's moving in the psyche and what's moving in the emotions and what's moving in the longing and what's moving in the past and the present and the future, and how does that coalesce into this languaging and this expression, and then meeting people in a very present way, which is what I'd done in clubs, you know, and those amazing moments we'd have with a stranger, and there's this whole thing that happens and then you never see them ever again, or you hope you might meet them next week, purely for the reason to have that level of articulation. And so to be in a room where people were choosing to have those kinds of encounters blew the roof off my whole life. Gabrielle was really a shaman. So she was interested in taking us on a journey that sometimes even she, I doubt, knew where she was taking us. And then she would know, and then we would go. We followed. We trusted her intrinsically, impeccably. And the further out she went, those of us that were following were like, we're ready to leap. And then Gabrielle invited me to the teacher's training. It was like, okay, here's the rest of my life. There's a real sense that we're on a voyage, and a voyage takes rigor, and it takes the group to commit to that for magic to happen. And what I mean by magic is for depth, integrity, possibility, and healing to happen. And that doesn't mean it's not edgy. That doesn't mean it's not at times a little dissonant or difficult, or something's in the room that you can't quite name, but we're all present to it. So there's no sense of pushing it away. It's like, how do we welcome these things in? And that's, again, how do we bring in the blind spots? How do we bring in the parts of ourselves that we can't see? How do we bring in the parts of us that we've shunned away in the closet? And how do we bring in sweetness and joy into those parts so we leave fully aware of where we stand, right at center, and we can turn 360 and we can see it all and we're not overwhelmed by it. I mean, that's what I think dance does. It brings in the invisible into physical matter. And more, there's less and less story. More and more, it's pure being danced. It's so exciting to be at this point. You know, I've been teaching for 25 years and I've been dancing since I can remember. So to emerge into my offering, I'm delighted.